बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा वल्लभ राधा वल्लभ राधे। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्रीमद् His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada की। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्रीमद् His Divine Grace भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की। गंगामयी की यमुनामयी की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी देवी की कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5, entitled The Demigods Appeal to the Lord. Text number 17. Nishamyaitat suragana Mahendra Varunadayah Nadhyagachan Swayam Mantrair Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Nishamyaitat suragana Mahendra Varunadayah Nadhyagachan Swayam Mantrair Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Nishamyaitat suragana Mahendra Varunadayah Nadhyagachan Swayam Mantrair Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Varunadayah Swayam Mantrair Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Nishamyaitat suragana Nadhyagachan Swayam Mantrair Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Mataji Nishamyaitat suragana Mahendra Varunadayah Nadhyagachan Swayam Mantrair Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Mataji Nishamyaitat suragana Mahendra Varunadayah Nadhyagachan Swayam Mantrair Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Nishamyaitat suragana Mahendra Varunadayah Nadhyagachan Swayam Mantrair Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Suragana Mahendra Varunadayah Nadhyagachan Swayam Mantrair Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Nishamya, hearing. Etad, this incident. Suraganaha, all the demigods. Mahendra, King Indra. Varunadayaha, Varuna and other demigods. Na, not. Adhyagachan, reached. Swayam, personally. Mantraihi, by deliberation. Mantrayantaha, discussing. Vinishchitam, a real conclusion. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Lord Indra, Varuna and the other demigods, seeing their lives in such a state, consulted among themselves, but they could not find any solution. Then all the demigods assembled and went together to the peak of Sumeru mountain. There, in the assembly of Lord Brahma, they fell down to offer Lord Brahma their obeisances, and then they informed him of all the incidents that had taken place. Upon seeing that the demigods were bereft of all influence and strength, and that the three worlds were consequently devoid of auspiciousness, and upon seeing that the demigods were in an awkward position, whereas all the demons were flourishing, Lord Brahma, who is above all the demigods and who is most powerful, concentrated his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus being encouraged, he became bright-faced and spoke to the demigods as follows. Purport. After hearing from the demigods the real situation, Lord Brahma was very much concerned because the demons were unnecessarily so powerful. When demons became powerful, the entire world is placed in an awkward position because demons are simply interested in their own sense gratification and not in the welfare of the world. Demigods or devotees, however, are concerned with the welfare of all living beings. Srila Rupa Goswami, for example, left his ministership and went to Vrindavan for the benefit of the entire world. Lokanam hitakaryanau. This is the nature of a saintly person or demigod. Even impersonalists think of welfare of all people. Thus, Brahma was very much concerned at seeing the demons in power. Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha Shri Chaitanya manobhishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupaha kadamahiyam dadati swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. I'm very happy and grateful to be amongst all of you today once again. I offer my humble obeisances to all the devotees assembled here and especially His Grace Aniruddha Prabhu. We are continuing our discussion on this 5th chapter of 8th canto. Yesterday we discussed how Indra and all the devatas lost their positions in the heavenly planets because of their offense towards Durvasa Muni. Indra was very proud of his position as the king of all the devatas. He was so puffed up with his material opulence and he offended Durvasa Muni by disregarding a garland that Durvasa Muni had given him out of love. His material prosperity and a sense of security that he felt in his exalted position as the king of the devatas made him disrespect great saintly people like Durvasa Muni, and some other time he also disrespected Brahaspati, and many other such incidents took place, all because of his false pride. When we are very proud of our own positions, we cannot acknowledge the greatness of other people. Just like Daksha was very proud of his exalted position as the most prominent Prajapati in this universe. And because of his pride, he disrespected Lord Shiva. When he entered that great sacrificial assembly that is graced by several devatas and brahmarshis, rajarshis and devarshis, he entered that assembly and he found Lord Shiva sitting and meditating instead of standing up and receiving him, welcoming him. So that made him very upset. He started criticizing Lord Shiva and he even cursed Lord Shiva. May this Shiva, who has no etiquette, no culture, not receive a share in the sacrificial oblations. Actually, Shiva need not sit with all the other devatas and eat the sacrificial oblations. In one sense, this curse is also appropriate. Not from the perspective of the mentality of Daksha, but from the perspective of the exalted position of Lord Shiva. Vishnu Thakur explains like this. Anyways, the main point here is Daksha, out of his pride, could not accept the exalted position of Lord Shiva. He was always envious. Bhagavatam teaches us, Gunadhikan mudam lipset anukrosham gunadhamat maitrim samanadan vichhen natapair abhibhuyate. When you see a person who is better than you, who is more experienced, powerful, talented and knowledgeable than you, you should take inspiration from them. You should feel happy that you can learn from them instead of feeling envious. When we see a person who is inferior to us in some way, either in age or experience or talents or accomplishments, we should not feel proud. We should not oppress them or suppress them or demotivate them or discourage them or disrespect them, but we should extend a helping hand and be compassionate and kind towards them and help them grow from wherever they are. Then, maitrim samanadan vichhen. When we meet a person who is equally qualified like us, then we need to befriend them instead of competing with them, trying to outsmart them and outshine them. Natapair abhibhuyate. When we do so, we will not have any tapa, difficulties in our interactions with others or any disruptions in relationships. So this is what Bhagavatam teaches us. Further, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us, Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniyaha sadaharihi. To be able to chant the holy names of the Lord continuously, we need to cultivate this quality of humility and tolerance and learn to offer all respects to everyone without hankering to be honored by others. Then we will be able to chant the holy names of the Lord. In contrast to these great teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and of course in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna teaches amanitvam adambhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam. Devotees are supposed to be amanitvam, prideless but humble, and not hankering to be respected by others but actually respecting them. Although Gita, Bhagavatam, CC, all these wonderful literatures are emphasizing on the importance of pridelessness and humility, in contrast to all these teachings, Daksha disrespected Lord Shiva. No Trinadapi sunichena, no humility, no tolerance. He is sitting and meditating, let him meditate. Why should I expect him to stand up and receive me? So he did not think in that way, but he got offended. He criticized Lord Shiva. Then amanina manadena. A Vaishnava should not expect respect from others but should offer respect to others. But Daksha is opposite. He is not offering respect to Lord Shiva, but he is expecting respect from Lord Shiva. And this Daksha, because of his pride, he walked out of the assembly. Although so many exalted personalities in the assembly requested him, stay back, your presence is required in this sacrifice. Still, For him, his ego is more important than the auspiciousness created by conducting that sacrifice with unity and cooperation and collaboration. He just left. My sense of honor and prestige and ego is more important for me than the sacrifice that all these thousands and thousands of Brahmarshis, Rajarshis and Devarshis and universal celebrities are conducting. To that degree, pride can make a person foolish, ignorant and self-absorbed. Now, Daksha was one of the prominent Prajapatis. In fact, he is the most prominent Prajapati. In the beginning of the creation, Lord Brahma created 4 Kumaras and told him, you procreate and increase the population of this universe. But 4 Kumaras said, no, we will become Brahmacharis. We cannot accept your instruction. And Brahma became slightly disappointed and annoyed. But he ultimately respected their preference and allowed them to be like that. It's not that there was a disruption in the relationship between 4 Kumaras and Brahma because they did not accept his request. But momentarily Brahma was slightly agitated. And when he was agitated, from between his eyebrows, Lord Shiva manifested. Okay, one more child. Lord Brahma instructed Lord Shiva, you please increase the population of this universe. You procreate, you get married. Then Shiva did so. Shiva created population, and all the people that Shiva created were equal to himself. And just like Shiva is expert in destruction, all the people whom Lord Shiva created also started destroying everything in the universe. Whatever has been created at the time, that was being destroyed parallelly by Lord Shiva's population. So Brahma became little annoyed. Even the people created by Lord Shiva, they started attacking even Brahma also. Then Brahma called Shiva and said, better not create this kind of population. We need population that can populate the universe, not destroy everything in the universe. I request you to please go into the forest and start meditating. And please don't forget to take all the people you have created along with you. So Shiva and all his associates went into the forest to do some meditation. Shiva is obedient. In fact, Shiva is considered the deity of false ego. He is the presiding deity of Ahankar, but he had absolutely no Ahankar. When he did service in a certain way, which is not according to Brahma's expectation, Brahma removed him from the service. Brahma said, you need not do this service. When your services are required, we will call you. This is the statement that he made. When we need your services, we will call you. Till then, you please go and do meditation and chant Hare Krishna. Shiva did not get offended. Shiva offered obeisances to Brahma and he left. Later, Lord Brahma created so many sages. Atri, then Daksha, Narada Muni, so many sages he created. And he delegated the service of preaching bhakti to Narada Muni, and remaining sages, they are supposed to marry and they need to increase the population of this universe. They were like Prajapatis. And Daksha is one of the prominent ones that Lord Brahma has created. And this Daksha populated the universe with various species, and he proved himself to be the expert Prajapati. Therefore, his name is Daksha. And he did the service exceptionally, and that service Shiva could not render before. Daksha did a service which Shiva failed to do. And Daksha became so proud, so puffed up. But Shiva is most respectable. All the devatas are offering respects to Lord Shiva, worshipping Lord Shiva as much as Brahma. In fact, Shiva's position is superior to Brahma also. Although Shiva manifested through Brahma, but Shiva's position is more exalted than even Brahma. Brahma is a jiva, a qualified jiva who can occupy the post of Brahma. But Shiva is not an ordinary jiva. He is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Daksha felt that why Shiva is getting so much respect, so much honor from all these people. Why they are not honoring me? Although I am the one who populated the entire universe. I am the most prominent Prajapati. Why everybody is respecting Lord Shiva? So he was envious of Lord Shiva. He was proud of his own accomplishment. He was envious of Shiva's exalted position and all the respect that Shiva was getting. A combination of pride and envy and arrogance. So Shiva, he criticized Lord Shiva. And what was Shiva doing? Shiva's response to this whole criticism was silence. He kept quiet. He did not say a single word to defend himself. He was very tolerant. He understood this is a event or an assembly where everybody gathered to worship Lord Vishnu, to perform a sacrifice. So let me not disturb the mood of this sacrifice. Let me not exhibit any anger and disturb this occasion. But Daksha had absolutely no such sensitivity. Daksha felt my sense of honor, my prestige, my ego is more important for me than this sacrifice. So Shiva was tolerant. Shiva was actually exhibiting this mood. Tranadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadina kirtanai sadahari. He was actually exhibiting this mood while Daksha is exactly opposite. Who pleased Lord Vishnu? Who pleased Lord Krishna more? Is it Daksha or Shiva? Daksha performed that service of procreating and increasing the population of this universe to a great extent, right? He was very accomplished. And on the other hand, Shiva failed to do that service. Of course, Shiva is doing many other services. But from the perspective of doing this service of populating this universe, Shiva could not do and Daksha did it. But from the perspective of Vaishnava character, exhibiting Vaishnava qualities, Shiva exhibited this mode of Tranadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna, but Daksha failed to do so. So who pleased the Lord more? The Lord is not pleased with our accomplishments and achievements. The Lord is more pleased with our character and qualities and humility and respecting other living entities. Character is always established superior to accomplishments. Yes, we need to accomplish many things in the service of Krishna, right? We can do exceptional service to the best of our ability. We can aspire to serve Krishna wonderfully. Let's do a lot of preaching, a lot of distribution of books, many things, but not at the compromise of our character, our imbibing our Vaishnava qualities, as recommended by Krishna. If only accomplishments and services and achievements are important, Krishna could have filled Bhagavad Gita, or Sukadeva Goswami could have filled Bhagavatam with strategies for expanding one's service only. But why Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavad Gita are often emphasizing on developing these qualities of humility, gratitude, compassion, satisfaction, tolerance, pridelessness. So this developing character is also important. That's what we can see from the example of Lord Shiva, and a negative example is Daksha. So Prabhupada writes in that purport, anger can make a person forget everything. And that anger is a product of unfulfilled desires. Daksha had a desire to receive honor from Lord Shiva and everybody. Because of his pride, he desired honor, respect. And when he did not get it, he became angry. And when we get it, we become greedy. As Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Trividham narakasyedam dvaram nashanamatmanah kamaha krodhas tatha lobhah tasmadetattrayam tyajet. Trividham narakasyedam, there are three gateways to hell. One is kama, desire. Second is krodha, anger. Third is lobha, greed. When our desire is unfulfilled, we become angry. When the desire is fulfilled, we become greedy. Right? Unfulfilled kama leads to krodha, and fulfilled kama can lead to lobha. Already desire is fulfilled. Heart says, Aniyur, I want more, more honor. Already Daksha was being honored by everybody in the sacrificial assembly. Only 2 people did not get up. Right? Only 2 people. One is Brahma, second is Shiva. Thank God. Daksha did not expect Brahma to get up. But he expected Shiva to get up and honor him. So one person, he's doing his meditation. Just leave him, na? But he wanted him also to get up. So Hiranyakashipu, he was so proud of his position. Entire kingdom of Hiranyakashipu, in fact, all the 3 worlds were praising him. Even the devatas like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, they were all praising Hiranyakashipu. But one little boy, 5-year-old child, was not worshipping him, but worshipping Lord Hari. And he became very angry with it. He wanted to kill that little boy, Prahlad, because he wanted honor from him also. He wanted Prahlad also to accept his supreme position. And he is envious of Lord Vishnu. So this is what pride can do to us. This is what anger, lust and greed can do to a living entity. So because of this anger, because of this pride, Indra and all the devatas lost their positions. Another important point. Indra was the king of the devatas. And he is the one who offended Durvasa Muni. And all the devatas lost their positions. Not that Indra lost his position. All the devatas also lost their positions. Sometimes the mistakes done by leaders can affect the followers also. Earlier, when Indra disrespected Brihaspati, despite seeing him, he lost his heavenly position, and all the other devatas also lost their positions. Another time, when Indra became upset with all the Vrajavasis for not worshipping him, but worshipping Govardhan instead, then Indra became angry. Indra wanted to destroy all the Vrajavasis for not worshipping him. He created a devastating rainfall in Vrindavan, and because of that rainfall, Krishna had to lift Govardhan mountain, and he protected the Vrajavasis, right? But actually, in that context, it was Indra who was not worshipped, and Indra got offended, and Indra called all his servants, all the clouds and all the wind gods, because along with rain there should be wind also, then the effect is complete. So he called all the wind gods and he called all the clouds, Samvartaka clouds, to destroy Vrindavan. Did Samvartaka clouds and the wind gods have any desire to destroy Vrindavan? No. They were obliged to follow the instructions of their master Indra. When Indra is the king, Indra is the leader. When the leaders are proud, when the leaders are egoistic, when the king is egoistic, he may or he will definitely engage his subordinates to also boost his false ego and engage them in unmentionable activities, although they were not inclined to do so. That's what Indra was doing with all the devatas. And the king's fall down will cause the fall down of the followers also, other devatas also. So, when we do some mistakes, those mistakes will not affect us only. When we have certain offensive attitude or pride or envy or lust, whatever, that will not trouble us alone. That will trouble 10 other people surrounding us. So the anarthas of one individual can affect negatively many other individuals. That's the nature of this world. So when we are trying to cultivate good character and Vaishnava qualities, we are not only benefiting ourselves, we are benefiting 10 other people. But when we are harboring envy, pride, greed, etc. within our hearts, we are not only ruining ourselves, we are affecting negatively 10 other people. So, when we are living in a society of so many human beings, our activities, our moods, our needs, our deeds will definitely influence
many other people around us. Because Indra did this mistake, all the devatas lost their positions. Therefore, a devotee is extremely careful not to become victim of pride and all such negative qualities. Right in the beginning of the creation, when Brahma was given this instruction to create, you know that, right? Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu was lying on the Garbhodaka ocean. From the lotus navel of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, a beautiful lotus flower sprouted and Brahma took birth. And Brahma meditated for 100 years and he got the darshan of Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu started speaking to Brahma. And Brahma offered several prayers to Lord Vishnu. And at the end of his prayers, you can refer to 3rd canto, 9th chapter, last 3 prayers of Brahma, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, like that. There Brahma says, "O Lord, I have some requests. I praised you in several ways till now, but now I have a request." What is that? Number 1, please empower me to do the service of creation. Number 2, when I am able to do this service effectively, when I become successful in doing this service, I may become proud. Please protect me from false ego and false pride. Number 3, please bless me so that I don't get deviated from your instructions. You have given me so many instructions, divine, transcendental instructions. You have given me the knowledge of Vedas. Let me not get distracted from all those instructions. Let me be rooted in your teachings. Then I will not become proud. Then I will not become egoistic, despite successfully carrying out your service. When a devotee successfully does a service, a devotee understands that the service has happened by Krishna's grace, Krishna's empowerment, Krishna's sanction, Krishna's blessings, and also with the assistance of hundreds and thousands of other devotees and Vaishnavas. Brahma's creation is not just Brahma's creation. Brahma's creation is also because of the assistance of so many Prajapatis, so many sages, so many people helped him in 100 different ways. So Brahma is not alone. So Brahma became very cautious. Oh Lord, even before starting his service, he could perceive that I may become proud if I do this service nicely. So please protect me. Prabhupada writes in that purport, beautiful purport. One statement he makes: a devotee should fear fall down and pray for protection. FFPP. Fear of fall down and pray for protection. Prayer for protection. So when we pray for protection, the protection is not from some material calamity. The real protection is from the internal anarthas. Please protect me from false ego. Please protect me from ignorance. Please protect me from pride, envy, greed, etc. That's why Gajendra initially offered prayers. Just a few days back we have been discussing Gajendra episode. Gajendra, in the initial part of his prayers, prayed for the Lord's protection. Please protect me from this crocodile. But after some time Gajendra prayed, oh Lord, please protect me from this ignorance. Even if you protect me from this crocodile and save my body, I don't want to continue in this animal body anymore. Please protect me from this ignorance and false ego and bodily identification, which is the cause of all problems. That's the ultimate prayer of a devotee. Once 20,800 kings were arrested by Jarasandha. And all these 20k kings found a messenger and wrote a letter to Krishna. And that messenger took that letter and went to Dwaraka, Sudharma Assembly Hall, and read that letter in front of Krishna. And Krishna said, I will come and protect them, don't worry. Then Krishna took Bhima and Arjuna along with him and went to Jarasandha and requested Jarasandha, Jarasandha, we want to fight with you. We don't want any other charity. We just want fight, dual fight. Who amongst the three? You, Bhima. So Bhima and Jarasandha started fighting with each other. And Krishna empowered Bhima to fight. See, although Bhima killed Jarasandha, Bhima is humble. He did not think, this is my accomplishment. I have killed Jarasandha. I have protected all these 20,000 kings. Bhima was not thinking like that. Bhima understood. Krishna had already defeated Jarasandha along with his 23 Akshahinis of army 17 times before. Hmm? And now also, when I'm fighting with Jarasandha, Krishna is the one who gave me the hint. Krishna took a small tree branch and bifurcated into two pieces. Then Bhima got a idea. I need to bifurcate, who is that? Jarasandha's body into two pieces. So he pressed Jarasandha's one leg with one of his legs, and he held the other leg with his two hands and then just bifurcated it like that. And Jarasandha's body became two. Because Krishna knows Jarasandha was like some kind of surgery was done to Jarasandha when he was born. He was born in two pieces, and a demon named Jara joined the two pieces of his body. So Jarasandha was killed in this way. Then Krishna went to these 20,000 kings and said, you can go back to your kingdoms. I responded to your prayer and you are released now. You know what these 20,000 kings said? Oh Lord, although Jarasandha arrested us, we don't blame him so much. He is not the cause of our trouble. The real cause of our trouble is our own ignorance, our own ego, our own desire to conquer everybody around us. We are Kshatriyas, we are kings. We want to conquer other kingdoms, expand our rulership, expand our kingdom, and then become sovereign. We want to gain sovereignty all over the earth. That's our greed. Already we have some kingdoms. We are ruling them. But we want to rule someone else's kingdom also. If the other king is wrong king, bad king, you can defeat him and protect his citizens. That's a different thing. But for no reason, one king starts fighting with another king just to expand one's kingdom out of false ego, out of false prestige. So that kind of greed to expand our kingdoms is the cause of all our problems. Please destroy this ignorance. Please destroy this lording over mentality. Please destroy this mentality to control the nature and become rulers. So please protect us from that ignorance. The ultimate prayer of a devotee is not protection from a calamity, it is protection from ego and ignorance and all the negative qualities within. So, the devatas, because of especially because of Indra's disrespectful attitude and pride, the devatas lost their positions. So they all went to Lord Brahma. As the 17th and 18th shlokas speak, Nishamyaitat Suragana Mahindra Varunadayah. All these Suraganas, all these great devatas assembled, had a meeting amongst themselves. Mahindra Varunadayah. Mahindra is the king, Indra. Varuna is another devata who is overseeing the water bodies. So all of them came together. Nadhyagachan Swayam Mantrair Mantrayanto Vinishchitam. Here mantra is not just a statement or a Sanskrit mantra that we chant. Here mantra basically refers to the act of deliberation, the act of discussion. So they all came together and they started discussing, how do we come out of this predicament? How do we regain our positions in the heavenly planets? And now demons are in power. So they were very concerned. They understood their mistake. They all went to Lord Brahma and said, Brahma, this is what has happened to us. Because we have neglected the garland given by Durvasa Muni, all these things happened to us. Now the demons took their positions. Oftentimes, when the devatas are in troubles, they go to Brahma. Although devatas sometimes do some mistakes, one good thing about the devatas is that these devatas have obedience, submissiveness to their seniors, to Brahma. Sometimes they do some mistakes because they are not pure devotees. Many of them are not pure devotees. Most of them are very mixed devotees. As Prabhupada writes in the purport, in the 3rd canto, 5th chapter purports, there are two kinds of living entities. One category with pure consciousness of rendering service to the Lord. Another category with impure consciousness of lording over this material nature, controlling this material nature. But Prabhupada says there is a third category also in between. They have a mixed consciousness. They want to serve the Lord also, they want to control the material nature also. Such people are made into devatas. You want to control? Fine. You want to serve me also? Fine, you can do both. Your controllership is my service. So you control the fire department, Agni, take this position. You control the rain department, Indra, take your position. You control this water bodies, Varuna, take this position. Yamaraj, you take care of all the sinful living entities. Like that, different devatas are given different responsibilities in the universal government. And the government head is Krishna. He appoints all these devatas. So we discussed right yesterday, Manvantaro, Manurdeva, Manuputra, Sureshwaraha. So there are six categories of people who orchestrate various affairs of a Manvantara. And who appoints all of them? The Lord. The Lord personally appoints them. You become Indra, you become the Devatas, you become the Saptarshis. He appoints all of them. You become the Manu. So they have some mixed consciousness. They want to do some controllership, but they also want to serve the Lord. And their ability to control, their activity of controlling the material nature becomes a part of their Lord's service. So that's very good. By doing that service, eventually they will embrace the mood of being a servant of the Lord, and they will release their mentality to control the material nature. But if they are going in an opposite direction, Krishna has to do this. That's what he did with Indra many times, and also Brahma sometimes. So these devatas, they are sincere. They want to serve the Lord. They are devotees. They are appointed administrators. They are in mood of goodness. But these these demons are in mode of passion and ignorance prominently. But devatas are primarily in mode of goodness. Therefore, they have some self-control, they have service attitude, and they are well-wishers of common people, generally speaking. Therefore, they are supposed to be ruling the kingdom. But when they lose the kingdom, due to some mistakes that they have done, Lord Brahma would chastise them. You disrespected a great personality, what else do you expect? So he chastises them. But nevertheless, even if a child does mischief, mother or father may chastise the child, still, ultimately they have to protect the child. For example, a child was given a new book or new pen. And because of not being careful sufficiently, the child lost the pen and book. And they come home. Parents say, hey, you should be careful. You can't be losing like this. So they may say like that, but will they not provide a new pen and new book to the child? They'll have to do it. Similarly, Brahma, being the supreme personality within this universe as the creator, the head of all the devatas. Prajapatinam abhivanditah pati. Brahma's position is so exalted that within one day of Brahma, 14 Indras come and go. 14 sets of devatas come and go. 14 sets of Saptarishis will come and go. So he is definitely in an exalted position. So Brahma chastises them, and ultimately he shows a path to them. Sometimes Brahma himself gives a solution, and sometimes the Lord Brahma takes all these devatas to the shore of milk ocean and requests Lord Vishnu to come and help them. One of these two cases. So Brahma himself gives a solution to the devatas many times, and sometimes Brahma also takes the devatas to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu gives some solution to them in this current context. Then Brahma is definitely concerned about this thing, that asuras have occupied the heavenly positions. All the demons who have absolutely no self-control, they are ruling the heavens. Now, it's not just about filling the post with somebody. Okay, somebody is ruling, right? Let them rule. That's not the point. A qualified person should rule. A person who is self-controlled should rule. A person who is detached should rule. All the devatas, generally speaking, they have self-control and detachment and mode of goodness. Sometimes they may become attached, definitely. Sometimes they lose their self-control, but generally speaking, they are more self-controlled, at least compared to the demons. So when the demons are occupying leadership positions in the heavenly planets, when people who lack self-control, when people who lack detachment, when people who are too much engrossed in modes of ignorance and passion, when they are ruling the kingdom, what will happen to the kingdom? What will happen to the universe? It's not just one little kingdom in one corner of Earth planet. It's the entire universe. All the devatas are in charge of various affairs in the entire universe. It's universal government. There are no elections here, there are selections. So the selections are done by the Lord. So the Lord here, Brahma, he became very concerned that how can the demons rule heavenly planets? No, they should not be ruling. Only devatas should rule. Somehow or the other, we need to reinstate all the devatas back in their positions. And we should dethrone the devatas. What are we supposed to do? Let's ask Lord Vishnu. He should present a solution. So that's what Brahma thought. In the second canto of Bhagavatam, Brahma said one shloka. Na bharati menga mrishopalakshyate na vaikvachinme manaso mrishagati na me hrishikani patantya satpathe yanme hridautkanthyavata dhrto harihi na bharati menga mrishopalakshyate. My words will never utter, will never reveal anything wrong. Means I will never speak anything wrong. Na bharati menga mrishopalakshate. Navai kvachinme manaso mrishagatihi. Means my mind will never think of anything wrong. Then my senses will not do anything wrong. Name hrishikani patantya satpathe. Means my senses will never traverse in a wrong direction. Brahma says, whatever I say, whatever I do, whatever I think is always right. How come? He says in the last line, Yanme hridautkanthyavata dhrto harihi. Because I have accepted the lotus feet of Lord Hari with great zeal within my heart, whatever I say, whatever I do, whatever I think is correct. His confidence is not about himself. His confidence is on his taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. By the Lord's grace, whatever decisions I take are true. So as long as one has deep connection with the Lord, then and devotion to the Lord, dedication to the Lord, then whatever one says, does, represents the Lord's will ultimately. But when one becomes too absorbed and engrossed in material activities, then whatever one says, does and thinks may not be representing the Lord's will. That same Brahma who claimed like this and who managed the universe in this mood for a long time, he became little confused or bewildered when his own sons, 4 Kumaras, asked him a philosophical question in the 11th canto. In the second canto, Brahma said that whatever I say, whatever I do, whatever I think is correct because I have accepted the Lord's lotus feet within my heart with great zeal. But same Brahma, when it came to 11th canto, Brahma could not answer a philosophical question asked by 4 Kumaras. Why? Acharyas say that Brahma became too absorbed in his creative activities because of too much of association or affiliation with material nature, because of too much engrossment in so many other external activities, engaging his mode of passion. He became little distracted and he could not answer this philosophical question. Then Lord Vishnu came in the form of Hamsavatar and he answered the questions asked by 4 Kumaras. So, the lesson here is, as long as we are rooted in our bhakti to Krishna, we can be assured that whatever we say, do, think is correct. The correctness is not our correctness. The correctness is in our obedience to the teachings of the Lord. So whenever we are taking a decision, whenever we are thinking of something or saying something, we contemplate, yes, is this said by the Lord? Is this taught by the Lord? Is it in line with the Lord's teachings? Is it in line with the teachings of Parampara? So that contemplation is there. For us to be able to act like that, we need to be constantly in touch with the sound vibration. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya should happen. Pravishtaha karnarandhrena svanam bhavasaroruham dhunoti shamalam Krishna salilasya yathasharad. We need to allow Lord Krishna to enter our ear holes in the form of sound vibration of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Then we can be assured of correctness of our activities. But whenever we deviate from the teachings of the Lord, we end up doing something wrong. Whenever we follow the teachings of the Lord, whenever we are rooted in the teachings of the Lord, we do things right. So Brahma could not. He was too absorbed in material activities. So this kind of distractions can happen even to Brahma also, even to Indra also. But the good thing about these great exalted devatas is that they come back to the shelter of the Lord. They take shelter of the Lord. Although sometimes we don't know what to do, we should know what to do when we don't know what to do. What to do when we don't know what to do? Take shelter of the Lord. Take shelter of a great personality. So Brahma did not know what to do now. What kind of suggestion should I give to all these devatas who lost their positions? How do I reinstate them back in their positions? I don't know what to do, but I know what to do. Let me take shelter of Lord Vishnu. So all of them go on the banks of this Samudra, milk ocean, and they offer prayers to the Lord. The Supreme Lord, Vishnu or Krishna, is the only personality who will never do anything wrong. Everyone else, at some point or the other, they may do something wrong, and many of them will definitely do something wrong. Only the Lord can never do anything wrong. Dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Whatever the Lord does is dharma. Whatever the Lord teaches is dharma. But it's not so in the case of other living entities and jivas, even if they are exalted devatas. To the degree one is aligned with the will of the Lord, instructions of the Lord, to that degree one can be assured of one's decisions or thoughts or actions or words valid. Yam brahma varunindra rudra marutah stunvanti divyaistavaihi vedaihi sangapadakramopanisadaihi gayanti yam samagaha dhyanavasthita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogino yasyantam na vidursura suraganaha devaya tasmai namaha. Brahma, yam brahma varunindra rudra marutah stunvanti divyaistavaihi. All the names are mentioned in this couple of shlokas that we read. Mahendra Varunadaya. Indra and Varuna is mentioned. And later they went to Brahma. Tato Brahma Sabham Jagmur. So Brahma, Indra, Varuna, three names are mentioned in this shlokas. And that shloka also says, Yam Brahma Varunindra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi. It is Lord Vishnu, he is praised in transcendental poetry by all these great personalities like Brahma, Indra, Varuna, Chandra, Vayu, Rudra, and all the devatas, all the sages, they worship him. Only he can never go wrong. And we will not go wrong as long as we act according to his instructions. As all the devatas, all the Dwarkavasis say, Bhavayanastvam bhava vishva bhavana Tvameva mathata suhrutpatih pitam Tvam sadgururnaha paramam cha daivatam yasyanu krutino babhuvima. The Dwarkavasis are saying that, O Krishna, bhavaya nastvam bhava vishva bhavana. You are the supreme creator of this entire universe. Tvameva mathata suhrutpatih pita. You are our mata, mother. Suhrut, you are our friend. You are pati, you are our husband or master. You are pita, you are our father. Tvameva matata suhrut patih pita tvam sadgururnaha paramam cha daivatam. You are our dear Sadguru. You are our dearest teacher. Paramam cha daivatam. You are the supreme worshipable deity for all of us. Yasya anuvritya krutino babhuvima. Only by following your teachings we become successful. To the degree we are affiliated to Krishna's teachings, to that degree we can be assured that what we are doing is correct. Anything that deviates from the teachings of the Lord, anything that deviates, that is deviated from what the Shastras are teaching, can go wrong. Sometimes something is not exactly presented in the Shastra, but we need to read between lines. Read between lines in line with parampara. Read between lines means not reading out of the book. Right? So reading between lines means there is something that we need to infer with our own deliberation, with our own analysis, with our own intelligence, which is spiritualized by studying that same book. Everything need not be explicitly mentioned. It is inferred, it is understood. But we need to read between lines in line with parampara. For example, the shloka is only 4 lines. Prabhupada writes 4 pages purport. Where is this 4 pages purport coming from? It's coming from the 4 pages, 4-line shloka only. And also coming from the teachings of the previous acharyas. Prabhupada keeps so many wonderful commentaries in front of him, and he distills the essence of all these wonderful commentaries and adds his own reflections in line with the shloka, and then presents in the form of his purports. So thus, the 4 shlokas spoken by the Lord, Chatashloki Bhagavatam, is expanded and expanded and expanded into 18,000 shlokas through various devotees. Kasmayena vibhasito yamatulo gnana pradipah pura tadrupena chanaradaya munaye krishnaya tadrupina yogindraya tadatmanatha bhagavadrataya karunyata tatshuddham vimalam vishokam amritam satyam param dhimahi. The last canto of Bhagavatam says, right in the beginning of creation, the Supreme Lord spoke Śrīmad Bhāgavatam to Brahma. In the form of Brahma, it is that Lord who spoke that Bhagavatam to Narada Muni. And through the medium of Narada Muni, it is the Supreme Lord only who spoke that Bhagavatam to Vyasadeva. And in the form of Vyasadeva, the Supreme Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavatam to Sukadeva Goswami. And in the form of Sukadeva Goswami, the Lord spoke Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. In this glorious parampara, whether the Lord is speaking, or Brahma is speaking, or Narada Muni is speaking, or Vyasadeva is speaking, or Sukadeva Goswami is speaking, or Suta Goswami is speaking, it is Supreme Lord Krishna who is personally speaking Bhagavatam. Because all these great personalities in the parampara are transparently transmitting the transcendental teachings for our transformation. There is no concoction, there is no distraction, there is no deviation. There is complete focus in preserving the essence of the teachings ultimately presented by the Lord, originating from the Lord. But when we get distracted from these teachings, we become subjected to all kinds of human frailties. Yaha shastra vidhimutsrujya vartate kamakarataha nasasiddhimavapnoti na sukham na parangatim. When we disregard shastra vidhis, the teachings of the Lord, teachings of Guru, teachings of sadhus, Guru Sadhu Shastra, when we disregard their teachings, then what else we expect? So the Shastras teach us, respect Brahmanas, respect everyone according to what they deserve, just as it behooves. Like Dehanatha Jata Jata, Sakala Sammane Korite Shakati Dehanatha Jata Jata. So Sakala Sammana, respect everyone according to their positions. So when we are able to respect everyone, then we are empowered to do things. But because they disrespected, they came to Brahma, and Brahma did not know what kind of solution to suggest. So he took them to the shelter of the Supreme Lord, and the Lord will personally present. Even when there is entire darkness in the entire universe because of Diti's pregnancy, then all the devatas went to Lord Brahma. Brahma, please tell us, what are we supposed to do? We are getting suffocated. Then what did Lord Brahma say? We cannot do anything. Let Lord Vishnu come in the form of Varaha and Narasimha and kill Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Till then we have to wait and watch. Then Brahma also spoke some Krishna Katha to them. Now Brahma, before taking all these people, all these devatas to Lord Vishnu, he will glorify Lord Vishnu in the next several shlokas. So do some Krishna Katha. The real guidance that we can give to people is bringing them closer to the shelter of the Lord. When people are brought closer to the shelter of the Lord, by our words or actions or inspiration, that's the real guidance, that's the real contribution that we can make to others' lives. And in doing so, we get connected to the Lord closely. But if you think that, I will advise you, you understand? I can give you all guidance, I can relieve you from all problems. No, even if you happen to help them, we are helping them as representatives of Krishna, not replacement for Krishna. We are not replacement for Krishna or Parampara or Guru. We are representatives of the Lord. We are instruments in the hands of the Lord. So when that mood is there, then we can help others. We can be helped by the Supreme Lord. And we also need to help others. We also need to seek help from people who are more mature in their practice of Krishna consciousness. These are a few thoughts. So Brahma is directing all these devatas to the Supreme Lord. In the next few shlokas we will be discussing how Brahma taught all the devatas to take shelter of the Lord and ultimately took them literally to the Lord, and the Lord gave them the plan for Samudra Manthan, the master plan for Samudra Manthan, and further incidents follow. Very beautiful episode is unfolding now. These are the few key shlokas, the prelude for the long Samudra Manthan episode that will be discussed by Sukadeva Goswami in the next several chapters. With this I will conclude. Grathara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you want to share some insights, any comments? Any other questions or comments by anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you mentioned sometimes because of the king's pride, the kingdom has to suffer. So we are seeing this in this verse that Indra committed that offense, and though other demigods were there, they did not intervene when the spiritual master was disrespected. So that's kind of offense, right? So it's very sad to see when Krishna has appointed, we say it's for selection, this not by election. So Krishna has selected certain personalities who are in that much of the higher consciousness, at the same time cannot see the difference or could not intervene when their spiritual master has been disrespected. How would as a practicing devotee, because there is always a hierarchy, sometimes could be management, sometimes could be within the God family. When some things goes, you think that it's probably not right, how would you, what's the take on individual?
That's the main thing. The devatas disrespected Brihaspati and earlier disrespected Durvasa Muni, and many times they also offended several great personalities, either individual level or together they have committed some offenses, and these are the consequences they had to face. That's the main lesson. As far as our practical dealings are concerned, when someone else is doing some mistake, should we intervene or not? That's the question, essentially, you're saying.
Especially depending on what that other person's position is.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. When someone else is doing some mistake, if they happen to be younger ones and you happen to be responsible towards them, then definitely you can help them, you can correct them, you can give a feedback to them with a well-wishing intention. But if they are superiors to us, seniors to us, then we need to be hesitant. In fact, avoid giving any corrections, any instructions, or intervening. If they are really at fault, definitely the Lord will do the needful to teach them a lesson. But sometimes we may misjudge a senior also. When Brahma was running behind Vak, then all the sons of Marichi laughed at Brahma. They disrespected Brahma. They fell down. They had to take birth as Hiranyakashipu's, Hiranyaksha's grandsons. Then they had to take birth as Devaki's sons, killed by Kamsa. Many things happened, right? But Marichi and many other sages, they did not disrespect Brahma. With polite words, with great humility, they requested Brahma, Brahma, what you are doing doesn't befit your position. No other Brahma has done like this previously. Kindly restrain from this behavior. They requested him politely with absolutely no disrespect. But still Brahma's determination to run behind walk continued. Then what did they do? They offered prayers to the Supreme Lord. Oh Lord, please intervene in this situation. You please do the needful. And when they offered prayers to the Lord, then Brahma stopped his endeavor to run behind walk. So correction is generally not offered to a senior person. But if the senior person is grossly doing some mistake, with all good intentions, with all due respects, we may politely request, not in a disrespectful tone, but a polite request. But if that doesn't work, even if it works, we may choose another option of offering prayers to the Lord. That's what Bhagavatam teaches us. In that chapter, which I just quoted from, 3rd canto, 12th chapter, Prabhupada gives 3 important instructions, principles, how to perceive the fault of a senior person. When some senior person or leader, king, Indra, or any Brahma or anyone, when they do some kind of mistake, which is different from dharma, which is against dharma, what are we supposed to do? He gives 3 things. Number 1, don't lose discrimination. Just because a great person is doing a mistake, that does not mean mistake becomes bona fide. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Whoever does it, even if a celebrity does it, mistake is a mistake, right? So don't lose discrimination. Because he is doing it, I think it's a bona fide thing to do, let me also do it. That's not the point. We should not lose discrimination. Whatever is wrong, according to Shastra and according to tradition. So that we should not lose discrimination. That's the first instruction that Prabhupada gives. Second instruction Prabhupada gives is, although that exalted personality has done this mistake, it's not a license for me to disrespect that personality. I can't just focus only on that one little mistake he has done and then discount all the glorious service that he has done. Don't disrespect the person. Don't lose discrimination, first instruction. Second, don't disrespect the person who has done the mistake. Because sometimes tejiyasam na doshaya. When an ordinary person touches urine and stool, one becomes impure and they have to take a bath. But when the sun evaporates moisture from urine and stool, he doesn't have to take a bath. Tejiyasam na doshaya. So when a great person does a mistake, that mistake may not affect the person, but when we criticize that great person, that will affect us. We'll become offenders. That's what happened to Marichi's sons. They fell down from their positions. So I should not be criticizing them. I should not be repeating what they have done. I should not be losing discrimination. But secondly, I should not disrespect them or criticize them or demean their position. Third thing is, if such a person can do this mistake, I can also do this mistake. Let me be careful. Let me be cautious. Let me not get distracted or deviated. This is the lesson that we need to take. Consider the personal lesson which is meant for us. These are the 3 golden instructions that Prabhupada gives. First, don't lose discrimination. Second, don't disrespect the great personality. And don't ignore all the wonderful service that the person has done. Third, learn the personal lesson. If the deviation could happen at that level, it can happen to me also. I'm insignificant. That's what Prabhupada said today also. In today's purport also Prabhupada said, if such distractions can happen in the case of Brahma, in the case of Indra, what to speak of us? We can also become proud. If Indra can become proud, we can also become proud. Definitely he's Shatakratu. He's a very advanced person. Although his mistakes are discussed at multiple places in Bhagavatam, but between those mistakes, he's doing glorious service also. That's why Krishna kept him in that position. Asuras have no self-control. The demons have absolutely no self-control. They are too much into mode of ignorance and passion. Therefore, they are not supposed to be occupying that position. So, the Lord has kept devatas. Despite their occasional mistakes, they are doing glorious service. So, we should not disrespect them. But we should learn what not to do from their activities without disrespecting them. Bhagavatam is filled with descriptions of mistakes done by great souls also. It opens with Vyasadeva, overemphasizing on 4 Purusharthas and not sufficiently describing bhakti. Narada Muni came and chastised him. Narada Muni came and chastised Vyasadeva. Then he wrote Bhagavatam. Later, You see Parikshit Maharaj keeping a dead snake around Shamikrishi's neck. Yeah, that's definitely a mistake. But it happened under the will of the Lord. We need to see the context in which it has happened. But Bhagavatam also describes the mistakes of several great souls, but all these descriptions are not a license for us to disrespect them, but we should learn what not to do from their activities. I don't have to repeat the same mistake that they have done. Pururava, Yayati, many other great souls. Does it make sense, Prabhu? Prabhu, you want to add anything, Prabhu? Or elaborate on this point? You can give the mic to Prabhuji.
It's a problem. Especially in the current age. As ISKCON has expanded and our lack of expertise has been exposed, there's a tendency to criticize. And just because you're right, you think you're better than everybody else. So that third principle that you mentioned is not followed. And so we have to be we have to have very good, close relationships based on, bhakti, based on affection, tadati pratigrinati guyamakyati prichati, etc. In order to make progress. Because mistakes are fairly common. Right? And if we think that we don't make mistakes, we've got a problem. But very interesting the point that you made about the behavior of a leader impacts everybody. And we've witnessed that all throughout our history as an organisation. But we perhaps haven't dealt with the issues maturely, because there's that, in a neophyte mentality, there's that, I'm on the path of perfection, so therefore I'm perfect. Right, and I don't make mistakes. So we have to be very merciful to ourselves, but also to others, especially and be friendly with each other, so that we can resolve it together. Otherwise, there'll be conflict, and there'll be more fighting and just trouble. The problems won't be solved. There'll just be more fighting. So that's a very mature approach to solving problems, is being respectful and humble, and especially with a senior, still holding the line, but maintaining the respect and the humility, and then leaving it up to Krishna. If somebody doesn't take our good advice, then we have to leave it up to Krishna. And that requires patience and, again, that respect. Not easy. And it's interesting that you mentioned that the Bhagavatam is practically a story of mistakes and rectification, many times. And even very exalted individuals make mistakes, but they rectify, they keep. So, yeah. Dealing with issues is not easy. And we see here, they're very exalted personalities, right? They got together, had a conversation. They couldn't come to a conclusion.
Yes.
Right? And then they had to go to Brahma. And we don't have that opportunity. We can't go to Lord Brahma and say, please help us. What's your advice? So very, very interesting. And I really appreciate the way that you described that, because it is relevant to us in our society broadly. Yeah. What to do? Chant Hare Krishna, associate with the devotees, take prasadam, hear the Bhagavatam. Yeah. And I think be very, very tolerant. You know, that's part of humility, is to be tolerant. Part of Lord Chaitanya's basic instructions of good behaviour is to be tolerant. What do you think?
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Any other question? Prabhuji wanted it. Huh?
Hare Krishna, Gauranga Prabhu. Thank you very much for a wonderful class. Why is so much importance given to the lotus feet of Krishna? All the time, so many places throughout Bhagavatam.
I always ask this question.
And second thing is, how you remember so many verses. Each time you say something, you give Sanskrit verses. So it must be from your previous birth that you have got this knowledge, and that's what I understand.
All these
Thank
children
you.
sitting here, they know more verses than me. As far as lotus feet are concerned, lotus is considered the most beautiful object in this world. The Lord's feet are compared with lotuses because there is no better comparison probably. But the Lord's feet are more beautiful than lotuses. That is clear. Thank you.
Any reason why it's particularly so beautiful? Even the gopis.
It's not only the form. Beauty is one thing. The Lord's lotus feet are definitely beautiful. It's not just the beauty of the feet in terms of physical form of the feet. The beauty of the Lord's lotus feet is to give shelter. When someone falls at the feet, the Lord accepts that devotee as his own. Yeah, these are my people now. Pranata pala. Pranata means one who does pranam at the lotus feet of the Lord. You offer obeisance to Jagannath ji or Radha Vallabh ji. You offer obeisances. The Lord says, Pranata pala. I am supposed to nourish them, maintain them, protect them in all ways. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. He is there, my responsibility. So, surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord is a beautiful thing to do. And when we surrender, the Lord owns us. Lord always owns us. He never disowns us. But still, the Lord takes extra care and responsibility. And He says, I carry the burden of the maintenance of my devotee who surrendered to my lotus feet. So the Lord becomes very eager to protect them. Further, lotus has a lot of nectar, right? The bumblebees become attracted to the lotus because of the nectar. Similarly, devotees are like bumblebees, they get attracted to the lotus feet of the Lord because there is a lot of nectar. So the Lord also becomes curious. What is there in my lotus feet? So much nectar is there. My devotees are all constantly hovering around my feet like bumblebees, honeybees. Let me taste. He became Vatapatra shy. He became a small infant baby, started sucking his own toe. Still he is not satisfied. No, I should actually adopt the mood of my devotee. I should become a devotee. Then I will be able to actually understand the glory of the lotus feet, of my own lotus feet. Then he became Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, constantly attached to the lotus feet of Krishna in the mode of Śrīmati Radharani. So we will be able to relish and understand the glory of the lotus feet of the Lord when we adopt the mode of devotion, mode of being a servant of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
How you remember so many verses?
That's okay. Remembrance is not a big thing. Understanding the meaning of the shloka, internalizing it, absorbing it, realizing it, and applying it is more important than just memorizing it. So let's not give so much of importance to memory. Some people can remember, some people cannot remember. I don't know what I did in my previous life. I don't remember. Mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. I may remember a shloka, but I don't remember my previous life. Okay. Yes,
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Beautiful class and beautiful answers. My question is relevant to that. Prabhu asked that if two people, one person may be elevated, the other person may be under, but if they had some problem and one is mistake, the other one is not a mistake, but the person start to ignore the other person, what to do?
As far as ignoring is concerned, if it is done with a disrespectful attitude, then it's like an offense. But if it is done with a mood to protect oneself, I may also get influenced by this mentality. He is little critical. For example, two devotees are there, both are sadhakas, not siddhas. Okay, both are sadhakas. One person has a lot of critical mentality. They're constantly spreading negativity and speaking ill about other devotees. When we come closer to them, they keep speaking that. Then that will contaminate our consciousness also. So consciously maintaining a safe distance, respectful distance from a person who has a disrespectful attitude is like needed for our bhakti. But if they happen to be devotees, then we need to pray for them. If we are in a position, if we have the capacity, we can advise them not to do so. But let's not hate them. Let's not disown them. That's the point. But if it is an unfavorable association, it's not a like-minded association, we can always respectfully deal with only those people with whom we have more compatibility. Although there may be hundreds and thousands of devotees, we may not have close friendships with everybody. That's understood. But let's not ignore people out of hatred or envy or disrespect. That's the point.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. It's 9 o'clock already. Yeah.
Hare
One
Krishna,
last question.
Prabhu. Thank you very much for the wonderful class. The past time you spoke about Daksha and Lord Shiva, and we are all aspiring to develop those qualities of tolerance and humility. But in my current state, there's also the false ego, and sometimes we get triggered by devotees, and like by the mercy of the devotees in the association, you can kind of move on pretty quickly, but in the moment, sometimes the anger is really hard to control. So what do we do in that situation? Like in the moment, like later on, sometimes like we hear Bhagavatam and we do some chanting, and we can move on quickly. But just that in the moment, it's really hard sometimes to tolerate.
To be able to respond appropriately on the spur of the moment, we need to internalize the teachings. We need to absorb all these teachings of Bhagavatam more into our heart. So, all our sadhana, seva, swadhyaya should culminate in responding appropriately on the spur of the moment. Right? Ideal response. But if we fail to do so, let's not feel discouraged or disappointed. There is a second chance. Right? This time, when this incident happened, I responded in an inappropriate way or became a little aggressive or impulsive. But next time, let me improve. Let me fine-tune my response. Let's record this response that we have given in a certain situation. Let's try to improve next time. So, we are work in progress. As long as the building is being constructed, so many sounds, thak, 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 all the construction sounds, drilling sounds, JCB, porcelain, bricks and masons, so much of noise there. You cannot have a Bhagavatam class in a construction site because so many sounds. But once the work progresses nicely and the building is ready after a few months or maybe few years, some buildings may take few years, then we can peacefully sit and have a class or sleep or do whatever. So we are all, sadhakas are like work in progress. They make sounds. A lot of sounds, a lot of noise, anger, envy, argumentation, quarrel, age of quarrel, right? So, but when we become mature in our sadhana, then sounds will become less. The sound of Harinam Sankirtan will become louder than the sound of arguments and anger and quarrel. So, let's not feel discouraged or disappointed. Let's try to improve ourselves. Work in progress.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Granthara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.